It's finally June, the month of gaming news. Welcome back to Maximum News, where we'll go through all that gaming news. Best intro ever. Obviously, we're going to start with the state of play, but, in case you're new to this show, we like to just jump right into stuff, not give too long intros if we don't have to. State of play. The PlayStation State of Play, Sony State of Play, happened today's Friday, right, when we're recording this? Happened yesterday. And a whole bunch of really, really interesting stuff came out of that. Sab and I are going to give our reactions to it very, very quickly. We'll just run down the list of everything that was revealed yesterday during that half an hour show. Start right off at the top. I honestly wasn't expecting them to talk about this, let alone put it as the first part of their showcase. The Resident Evil 4 remake is real, and it's coming March 24th, 2023, which is sooner than I was honestly expecting, given all the stuff that we've been hearing behind the scenes about this game, like how they weren't sure which way to go creatively with the game. But we don't know if that was true. Anyways, going on from that, Resident Evil Village VR is coming along. The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners Chapter 2, Retribution. I don't know what the hell that is. Skydance Interactive. No Man's Sky VR release for PS5, which I'm sure will make the people that play No Man's Sky very happy. They're the same type of people that managed to get their hands on a PS5. Horizon Call of the Mountain, which actually looks pretty cool. Like if Half-Life Alyx was the closest thing to motivating me to get a VR headset, this would probably be the second closest because it looks kind of impressive. Horizon Forbidden.
There was a lot of VR on this. There was a ton of it.
Yeah, it's very surprising. Like, I know they're putting a lot of faith in their VR titles. I don't know where that fit, because I only think that the people that really play VR games are the people that have the kind of money to spend on those expensive headsets. But anyways, moving on. This one was sort of the biggest C block for me of the show. They're like, now finally we get to announce a long-time fan favorite coming to the PC, and then the word that immediately came out of my mouth was Bloodborne. But no, it was Marvel's Spider-Man remastered, which is great. It's a great game, and I'm happy that people that own PCs are finally going to be able to play it. Anyways, Stray. Each time I see this game, I get more and more interested in it. I might actually pick it up when it comes out on July 19th. The Callisto Protocol, otherwise known as the spiritual successor to Dead Space, which is probably the only reason that I want to try it out. Plus, it looks pretty decent. Rollerdrome, okay, kind of looks like Jet Set Future, but with guns.
I was cool. Looking at that, and I was like, that reminds me of the 80s so much. Like, I'm just like, wow, I'm back in the 80s, man. It's like roller skates, guns,
cell shading.
Clothing. It's great. I'm so excited for this.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very weird like moment of like, huh. Am I nostalgic about this?
Even though yeah.
I don't know. I still don't know. Everybody in the comments, please. Are you nostalgic about rollerblades, disco, and weapons? Let me know in the comments.
Roller derby. Moving on, Eternites. Street Fighter 6. I've never been a fighting game fan. Plus, if I ever were to become one, I'm forbidden from playing Street Fighter 6 because my girlfriend says that game is played by scrubs. Yeah, she's a Tekken stan. Let's just say that. Tunic Season, A Letter to the Future. A game that looks interesting, but I don't really know that much about. And that's a sentiment that I'll also repeat for Final Fantasy 16. A game that looks interesting. They seem to be doing a lot more with the summons in that game than they have with any other game. But beyond that, and the fact that it's kind of pretty to look at, I don't really know much about it, aside from it coming out in summer 2023. So those were all the things. Still no announcement for Silent Hill, although we'll get to why there might be an announcement next week towards the end of the show. But Side, those were all the games. Yeah. Which were the ones that stood out to you?
The Stray game.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought that looked... I still think that's an amazing concept for a game. and it just gets more cutie and more cuddlesome every time I see it. I just want to grab the kitty and be like, "Oh, you
Yeah.
poor little
My
kitty."
girlfriend and she was doing that, like being all
Yeah,
cutesy wootsy with that
yeah.
trailer.
Moon takes that to an extent too. So it's one of those things where it's just like, wow, that is so cool. Really, really like the concept. Callisto was an interesting thing. I don't know whether I'm going to like it or not, but it's interesting.
Right.
Well, again, I don't know how I'm going to like most of these games because it might be like years and years and years before they come to the PC.
Right.
And again, I'm not getting a PlayStation until they start to treat their Japanese devs better, which they really aren't. Aside from the big companies, I don't think I saw one. No, wait, maybe there was the dating sim thing with the arm guy. Maybe that one was about the only like more indie Japanese title there was. And I think it's because they've completely turned their back on indie Japanese developers.
Yeah.
At this point, and it's very concerning. It's very concerning. Yeah, it's really concerning.
So those were the main ones for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The Callisto Protocol. I suppose I'm just interested in it because it was the original guy that worked on Dead Space that's heading the project, and so I hope that because of that, and like it'll sort of give us a game that approximates Dead Space, and not like Dead Space 3 when that project was still being like I know the remake's in development, but you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Aside from that, I suppose Resident Evil 4 remake. It's just not because I'm necessarily excited for it. I don't really know how to feel about it. I'm just curious as to what they're gonna do to make that game stand out from the original. Because Syb, that game, the original Resident Evil 4, I don't feel like it's sacrilegious to say that it's one of the greatest, like maybe top 10, at least top 20 games ever made. Because when you're just thinking about a cohesive experience where it's fun right from the beginning to the end, and it's formulaic, but in the best possible way that you can say the word. That's what Resident Evil 4 is. And to take that and to reinvent it, it's going to be a Herculean task to pull it off. And I think they're going in the right direction where it seems like they're like reinterpreting a whole bunch of different things. I really hope they make the president's daughter a whole lot less annoying, which they'd be crazy not to. So just for those reasons, I would say Resident Evil 4. Aside from that, yeah, Stray, but that's about it. On the whole, I give the showcase like a 6 or 7 out of 10. Because, like, for me personally, it's more like a 5 or a 6, but I'd probably be a little bit more generous just because I think there are people that would really appreciate things like Spider-Man coming to PC, Final Fantasy 16, like big fans of that, Street Fighter 6, but I just don't really care about those games. But anyways, it was a decent show, and there will definitely be a whole lot more stuff happening at Summer Games Fest, which we will be talking about, like I just alluded to, in a few minutes. So, did you have anything else you want to say about that before we moved on to the next subject?
No,
All right.
That's like, I'm glad they're doing stuff. Can't wait to see what they got. Because I want multiple big platforms to all be successful, so that the games industry does not stagnate.
Yeah.
I like, as much as I'm upset with PlayStation, Sony in general, for the way that they're treating Japanese devs, which is a serious issue, which we were talking about over 2 years ago, and other people are just now starting to pick up the story, or a couple months ago just starting to pick up the story. It's been brutal for a lot of them, and Steam has really been opening their arms. Microsoft's been opening their arms, but I think that it would be fair and would be better to see even more platforms open up. So I want to see, and I want them all to be healthy, so that that way they hold each other accountable.
Yeah. But they're just too nearsighted to do the stuff that would obviously make business sense and consumer sense. Nintendo, we're not going to get on that. But what we will get onto is Diablo Immortal. So the game is outside?
Yeah, so the game came out on the 2nd, which was yesterday.
It feels like forever ago since that infamous BlizzardCon clip, right? There's like 5 years ago, I think.
It was a while ago, yeah. I don't think it was 5 years.
I'll look up the exact date.
I think it was 2018, but I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll look it up, but you go ahead and talk.
Yeah. So yeah, Diablo Immortal has dropped, and I gotta say that if you're gonna watch somebody play this, you gotta watch Asmongold playing this. You have to. What he's doing is he's running it, so he's wailing on it, and he's wailing on it not like just to spend money. He's going, okay, what am I presented with as far as buy options?
Mm-hmm.
What do I get stuck with? If I bought everything that was of logical convenience, whenever they said, hey, this is a convenience thing. If I bought nothing but those items, period, how much money would you spend?
Right.
And he's doing that tally. So while he's playing the game, whenever he's playing the game, he's got a tally over in the corner showing how much money he spent on the game to get where he's at right now. And so you as a player can look at what he's doing, can look at how much money he is spending in the here and the now, and see how much you're putting into the game. Now,
he's being like the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, so that's actually what he says. He says he's Jesus. But basically, you can see in live time what it's costing him. And in the first, I think it was the first hour of the game, he'd already spent $347 on the game, American. That's insane. You could get how much? What could you do with $350? You
could buy a Switch.
You could buy a lot of stuff. This is, and it's absolutely astonishing. We just picked up some. We live in a very old house, and we picked up some room air conditioning units for the summer.
Hey, nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. They don't need venting. They work off of ice basically. It's a very good system. We picked up stuff for that way cheaper than that. And it's just, again, it's how much more is the community willing to take? Because is the game good? Yeah, the game is actually really good. It's got a lot of voice acting in it. It plays out really nicely for something that you play on your phone. You can also play it on PC now because they did that. But overall, the experience of the game, gameplay wise, is, hey, this is pretty good. The gameplay, the experience when it comes to the microtransactions, though, is, I don't even think nightmarish is the appropriate word. I really don't. Well, it's one step away from hell, basically, or maybe it is in hell. I don't know. They ran some tests. There a whole bunch of YouTubers and tech savvy people. They looked at the game, they looked at this stuff, they looked at the drops, they looked at the alpha and the closed alpha that they had. They looked at all the info that they had gathered. How much is it going to cost to raise one character from minimum to maximum on stuff that you theoretically would theoretically take you over a year or more to get? So avoiding that stuff, right? So avoiding the stuff that takes years, literal years to grind. How much could you how much money will it cost you to max a character by the end of your playthrough on that one character, getting to end game? How much money is it going to cost you? And the answer to that is about $100,000 US.
Ballsy MFers, man. Just to think that they can get away with that crap.
Well, and the sad thing is that there are so many people who are you don't have to spend the money. It's no, there's PvP in the game. Yes, if you want to become a competitive person within the game, yeah, you have to spend the money. Because it's not a question of oh, well, the guy's only got 5% extra stats. It's no. These guys they push a button and you instantly die. Kind of power levels between somebody who is like fully capped and somebody who's not. So it's like, right. Big problem.
Yeah, so you're working your ass off trying to play the game legitimately, and then if you happen to be one of the people that's in the top tier of Diablo gamers, the upper echelon that you get paired with are essentially the cheaters that paid to win.
Yeah, and again, it's like, and I'm afraid we're going to see more and more of this. I really hope, I cross my fingers and I hope that Microsoft comes in and fires everybody that had anything to do with that decision.
Please.
I really hope that, but I don't think they will.
No, because money talks. And if any company loves money, it's Microsoft.
And I'm afraid we're going to see this more and more and more and more. And it doesn't look like there's anybody who's going to make a stand and say, no, this is ridiculous. Like, we have small studios doing this. We have small stuff doing this. But these big corporations, they're like, oh, we can actually just print, tens of billions of dollars by just, telling these people that they have to put in this money. It's like, ay. So, yeah, it's bad. It's not great. It's disappointing. It's just sad. It really is.
Is it equivalent to like Genshin Impact in terms of like, good gameplay, but okay.
Genshin Impact. Sorry, the gameplay is good. Like from what I'm hearing from everybody, the gameplay is like really decent as far as like mobile phones go, mobile games go. So that's a good sign of it. But is the value for your money there? And the answer to that is I don't think so.
No.
Because again, I spent about I didn't spend that much on Genshin Impact when I was playing it. I'm not playing it anymore. When I was playing it, I didn't spend. It wasn't my biggest like purchase of the year as far as video games go. And I got like a bunch of the like top rated characters. Now, not the character that I really wanted. The character that I really, really, really wanted, I did not get. And I guess I probably would have had to have put in a couple $100 more in order to get that one character. I did not max out any of my characters. I did get a couple of duplicates of some legendary characters. And again, most of that was from just like all the free stuff that they give you. And some of the promotions and some of the other stuff. It's like it came out. It was still more than I would have liked, and I'm still going to avoid. I'm going to avoid mobile games more so in the future, because I'm having so many issues with the microtransaction thing, with just the stunning amounts of horrendous evil greed, like legitimately evil greed.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I think I want. I don't know. Let's charge somebody $10,000 for this. I'm sure some sucker out there is going to pay for that.
And there are suckers out there that'll pay for that,
right?
Yeah.
It's so it's been really it's been really frustrating looking at that and then seeing the reaction by so many people. And I don't like. I'm not gonna like.
Please don't tell me there are like Blizzard stans that are trying to defend this.
There are a lot of people defending this, and I'm not gonna say it's like it's bots or something like that. It's just I find it weird that so many people are like, "No, this is a perfectly acceptable way to spend your time and money."
Wow,
it's like
dead on impression there,
or not. Maybe we don't shovel money into the maw of abandoned stuff. Like, it's terrible.
Into the maw of Satan itself. Well, I don't know. Hopefully there'll be some sort of restructuring under Microsoft, but we'll have to see. Yeah, I've never played Diablo, full disclosure, and I'm not really too inclined to become a part of the franchise, at least until Blizzard gets their crap together, which hopefully will happen sometime in the next few years. But I'm not holding my breath. Speaking of games that I never played before.
I can't believe this.
Yeah,
I can't believe this.
I never. Well, honestly, and guess what? Aside from the first few hours of Mass Effect 1, I've never played a Mass Effect game. So yeah, I'm completely foreign to BioWare's major franchises, that and Dragon Age. So,
Yeah.
Dragon Age 4 got announced, I think it was the day before the State of Play, which I told myself, I wonder how Syb's going to feel about this. So I'm just going to leave the floor to him because I know absolutely nothing about the series. I apologize.
Well, so it's Dragon Age and Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Ooh, scary. It features a certain evil character who was actually evil all along, but you didn't know it until the very last scene of the last game. It also ruined several plot points that most people were actually excited for. Turns out, yeah. Is the game going to be good? Well, we don't know anything because we haven't actually seen anything. We've seen the Dragon Age Dreadwolf, and other than that, there's not much going on.
The only thing that we can really glean from is all the behind the scenes stuff, like how they wanted it to be, like the funders wanted the game to be a little bit more live servicey, but then they decided to go back on that, which is good, but
Yeah, and that's all stuff that happened like ages ago now.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it started out as as one thing. EA stepped in and said, "Don't go to that. Where's our live service? I want the live service, and I want to find a way to make people spend billions of dollars on the game." You know, that kind of garbage.
Your impressions are just dead on.
I'm trying. Yeah, you know that most people don't know. If you were to step into the inner sanctum of EA, where all the mysterious heads meet in some shrouded basement room, that's the voices that you'd actually hear. It legitimately.
I can't admit that about live service.
Yeah. Where's my $1 billion? I want to take money from the stupid gamers. They're so dumb. That kind of stuff. Because they don't respect you. They don't like you. They don't like their fans. I mean, this is a company that turned to the majority of their fans and said, if you don't like it, don't buy it. But we all know you're going to be forced to buy it. Otherwise, you're going to be considered a loser. And then proceeded to get rickety wrecked. So yeah, and again, they didn't have to. I want to point out that they didn't have to screw that up. They owned the rights to Command and Conquer. Command and Conquer has this amazing alternate universe where all kinds of crazy stuff does happen. And they have all this cool, like, awesome technology that we didn't have in this timeline. And gee, if they really wanted to change up the timeline, write some new stories, they probably could have done that. They also could have written actual stories of actual people that actually fought, that are actually like women and stuff. And they didn't do that either. There's so many stories. There's a story about this guy. He's like 5'4", 5'3", I think. He might have been 5'2". He was really short, like especially for military. I think he was like 5'2". That guy held off an entire battalion of soldiers and racked up more kills than most people would ever want. Did they tell his story? No. Did they tell the story about female snipers who joined the army because their loved ones got killed and they're like, enough of this? Did they tell the story about the woman tank driver who actually like did a really good job and managed to like do some fantastic, like, amazing story level stuff? Did they cover any of that? No, they didn't cover any of that. And it's just like this, right? So they came in, they demanded that they reboot the entirety of Dragon Age, make it completely new, and then they ended up, once they realized that the market doesn't actually buy this stuff, they panicked. They went back to them and said, "Okay, make whatever you want. Go back to make it." So they forced a reboot twice at BioWare. Twice they shut down pretty much all the progress that they had made and rebooted it. Now, is Dreadwolf going to be good? I kind of doubt it. To be honest.
What reason do we have to believe it'll be good?
There's no reason to believe that it'll be good. All of their core staff and team leads and original writers have all left. The last time I talked to somebody from BioWare, somebody who was decently high up, and I said, thinking back on it, like, what do you how do you think the company has changed since, like, its founding in the doctors? He goes, what doctors? I said, the doctors, the three doctors who then became two doctors who founded. He goes, our company was founded by doctors. I think I think you get some wrong information. And I'm like, you're not pulling a bit, are you? And he's like, what are you talking about? BioWare was founded by EA. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's like working for Valve and not knowing who Gabe Newell is.
Well, it's like being no. I would say that it's like being a pilot and not knowing what wind pressure is. It's like, how are you even in this job right now? You're supposedly a professional in the industry, and you don't know about the doctors. Do you know about Baldur's Gate? What's Baldur's Gate? Oh my God, you don't know. When did you join this company? Oh, when we started working on Mass Effect 3. It's like, oh, okay, so you're like a baby then. All right, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so a lot of their leaders are gone. A lot of their team leads are gone. Same thing that happened at Blizzard. They started to have massive brain drain. They started to have a massive loss in just generally, like, people sticking around at the company. They lost all of their good writers. They don't have any more good writers there. I know, because I speak to the old writers quite frequently. It is truly disappointing. Now, do they have some hidden talent that are going to come up and earn their wings and just pull this out of desperation? Maybe. And I hope so. I really do. I really hope so. Do I believe that they have that? I don't. I really don't. And I don't think that we're going to see a return to the best of what BioWare could be. I really don't think that we're going to see that. I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a game that ended up losing a lot of its heart because it got pulled in 2 or 3 directions at the same time. We're going to see a main storyline that doesn't make a lot of sense, because the build up to it, like, and then the last minute, like, rug pull. I don't know if they can pull that off. It's very difficult to. Numerous companies have tried this and they've all failed at it recently. Like, all the recent big story plot points. I think Square Enix is the only thing that's managed to, like, pull that off successfully in the last few years as far as, like, big AAA titles go. So I don't know. Maybe I'm being too critical. Maybe I'm being too negative. Let me know. Are you interested in this game? Are you going to be excited for it? Are you going to be paying attention to it? As far as what we're going to get, I really don't think we're going to get much. They said, we're going to promise you a whole bunch of information in the coming, in the coming months and stuff. And again, we've heard this before. They say we'll hear about it, later this year with more from blogs and social content. And it's like, to me, that says, oh, we're not going to see the game. We're just going to hear that everything's going great and everything's going to be amazing. And that BioWare magic, it's coming back. It's coming back, guys. We're going to wow your socks off. You're just going to be like, wow, this is so awesome. You're going to feel that. You're going to sense the return of WoW. The return of BioWare at its best, with the best BioWare magic that we've ever been able to pull off. You're going to see it. And to that, I don't know. I really doubt that's going to happen. I really doubt it. It's certainly a wish, but the wish is, like, far removed from reality. It's like, yeah, I hope so. I hope it'll be good. I hope we get another, name your title of the favorite game that you want, that you're not going to see in the next 2 to 3 years. You really, really want to see an amazing title from one of your favorite things. And that even if somebody started working on it today, that it would be at least 4 to 5 years before you actually get it into your hands.
Yeah.
And even with that, that's kind of pushing it. How many of these most recent games have they promised and then delay, and then just drops off the radar, like Beyond Good and Evil?
Oh.
Like, Where is that
Like,
game?
5 years since we heard anything.
It's been 5 years since we heard anything. They've been working on it for over a decade now. And again, that's not the only game. Like, I'm excited for Starfield because I'm excited to see what they're going to do. I don't recommend anybody pre-order it.
Of course.
God, don't pre-order it because they don't deserve it. But I'm excited to see where the game goes. Now, when it comes to another big game in the space genre, Star Citizen. It's like, where is Star Citizen?
Well,
Isn't it entering it? It's like, isn't it been more than 10 years since they started working on that?
yeah, the last I heard about them is that they were creating a roadmap for their roadmap.
A roadmap for the roadmap for a bunch of things. And again,
selling really exclusive ships for like $10,000. There's the suckers.
I know people who have bought $1,000 ships in that game.
Why?
Like 8 years ago. 8 years ago. And I remember that because WildStar just hit its 8th anniversary, and I was in a guild with a bunch of like high-end like raiders and friends from like WoW and some media companies and some other stuff way back when, and they were sitting around talking about how excited for Starfield they were. Not Starfield, Star Citizen they were. They were so excited for Star Citizen. They couldn't wait to fly around the galaxy and just explore an entire galaxy in one game. And have all the cool stuff that they all were all dreaming about.
And of course,
they were talking about that over 8 years ago, and they were like, "Man, I just dropped $1,000 on that game, man. I can't wait to be playing that next year." Well, next year might be a little early. Oh yeah, I know. I might have to wait 2 years, but I swear we're gonna see that. We're gonna see that sometime soon. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. And I bet if I called them up, I'd be like, "How's Star Citizen going? I just put another $2,000 down on my next favorite ship. It's gonna be great. We're gonna be getting into our hands in the next 2 to 3 years. Can you imagine? Next 2 to 3 years." It's like, so yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in the AAA department right now, and it goes to show because like the most common games I've been playing recently were made by like teams of 1, 2, 3, and 5 people, and I've been having a blast. And I'm a little worried that AAA gaming might crash and burn. But you know what? If it does, it's well deserved.
Yeah. And then hopefully something new will be born from the ashes, like the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's inevitable. It's like, what's the last guy that was the head of Sony PlayStation? It was Sean Layden. I think he said that it's unsustainable. It's just a matter of at what point are we going to see that crash?
At what point does it crash? And again, I don't think it needed to be. Because I put out so many, like, I know people have put out so many concepts. I put out concepts. I know lots of people who have said, here's the solution for AAA gaming. Here's the problem with AAA gaming. And I don't think, like, I don't think anybody's been listening. I don't think anybody's been listening. I don't think anybody's prepared. I think these people live in a monsoon type area, and they have continually postponed putting a roof over their head and going, "What's the worst that could happen? This is going to be fine, guys. Sunny days, sunny days, sunny days." So yeah. I think that's what's going to happen. Anyways, let's
unfortunately, we have one other piece of news that is kind of a downer. Well, depending on who you talk to, it was kind of for me. But we will get to some exciting things right after that to conclude the show. So just bear with us. Next story. So I've never played Diablo. I've never played Dragon Age. But I have played Sonic games. Granted, I think the last Sonic game that I played was Sonic Adventure DX for the GameCube, which is the director's cut of Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast. Fantastic game. I actually downloaded it on Steam recently, and I want to go and play with all the mods that are kind of required for it. And I've been kind of curious about the Sonic Frontiers game ever since it was announced, because even though I'm not a Sonic fan per se, I saw the most recent Sonic movies and they're really good, but I've never really played many of the Sonic games. But even I, like the rest of the Sonic fandom, seem to realize that I think the thing that would take Sonic to the next level is if you put him in some sort of an open world. And that's what Sonic Frontiers was promising. And, we saw the trailers leading up until this past week, and they looked interesting. But we really wanted to see gameplay, just to see it, like, get an actual understanding of the feel for this game. So IGN, they put out some exclusive footage from the game, and I don't know. So, did you happen to see it, Syb?
No.
Okay. All right. I'll speak to it very quickly. The best way that I can describe it, have you ever seen like those tech demos where it's like they put Mario into like an Unreal Engine 4, like really grassy mountain or something, and just have him walk around? So go look, it's part. That's kind of what this gameplay demo felt like. Sonic, he was in this somewhat realistic looking world with grassy hills and stuff, and it looked like a tech demo for an indie game in Unreal Engine 4. It's like you see the potential for whatever idea that they have in mind, and you definitely see that in this gameplay demo, but there's too many cracks around the edges that makes me think,
was the demo, like, was it leaked, or was it like
no, it's official.
They were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, IGN got exclusive.
I don't think that's a good idea then.
Yeah, it's it's like, how with Sonic games, there's like rails that he can slide on and like run up. Well, the things that you can get Sonic to do his stereotypical Sonic stuff on, against the backdrop of this green open world with forests and stuff, it looks extremely out of place, and there's like a lot of pop in. It just looks really unfinished. Now, I would say that if they pulled like a Halo Infinite, where they say, you know what, you guys are right, we need to put another year into this game, so they'd have like 18 more months to polish it, I think you could have something really, really special here. But as it stands right now, there's a lot of ugly stuff that I don't think they're going to be able to iron out in just the next 6 months. And it's more like 5 months, because it's supposed to be coming out in holiday 2022. But it's like it's like a month before the game comes out that it needs to go gold, and you can't really work on it anymore, So, yeah, I would recommend, like, not everybody hated it. There were some people that liked what they were looking at, but my opinion seems to be among sort of the majority. And I tried to make sure of that before I spoke about it today. Saib, I'd actually be curious to see what you thought about it. Did you grow up playing a lot of Sonic games?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I never owned any, but whenever I had the chance to play it, I went a little crazy.
Let me ask you a question. One thing that actually just came to mind when I was just asking you that last question is that people said that, sorry, something just fell down behind me. People said that in the new gameplay demo, Sonic didn't really seem to have any sense of momentum. I don't know. Like, is that like a huge big deal for the past Sonic games? I guess it kind of is, because it's sort of a stupid question. But anyways, apparently with this new game, people are complaining about this lack of momentum, and I'm not really seeing it because I haven't really played that many Sonic games, but that's another thing.
Yeah, no, momentum and speed was always kind of like a forefront of his games, like, which I didn't like. That was the one thing that I didn't necessarily like. I was like exploring. I was like 100% in the map. Like, I get annoyed if I crawl over every inch of the map, but I don't find every secret. But yeah, I think that this probably has some like legitimate complaints as far as like when it comes down to the actual speed and momentum of the game. But I think the screw up there was probably putting it in a really like really graphically like high depth area or game or engine, and that slows down that speed, the momentum that you can have. And it's a tricky thing, because I think Sonic really works in 2D, but I don't know how well it works in, like, I really don't think it works in 3D.
Well, have you ever played Sonic Adventure?
No, not really. No, that was the one that, like, I only ever played the 2D games.
Okay.
Then when it came out to 3D, there's a whole time period in which the 3D games were kind of coming out and going nuts. There was a whole period in that where I was removed from technology for a while.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I was busy blowing things up and stuff.
Sonic Adventure is pretty damn good. I'll say that.
And I'll say that, you know, we didn't, you know, there were a lot of people who didn't think Mario would fit into a 3D world. And I think some of the 3D Mario games are really, really solid. So as far as this goes, again, I would just like cautious people, like 6 months is like a long time in game development time. There's a lot of switches that are not turned on properly. It's a lot of like fluttering things. Don't pre-order it. Wait until it comes out. Voice your opinions because, you know, maybe they'll listen. They already listened with the movie, and that turned out way better. So I would encourage people to just generally like just wait and see. Just wait and see. Don't pre-order it, and you know get involved, right? Like hop on their forums, let them know, you know, talk about what you want to see, and hopefully they'll listen. If they don't listen and they come out with a bad product, well, they weren't going to listen to you anyways. So.
Yeah. And then just let them fail for not listening. All right. So with that out of the way, let's just get to some stuff that I think we should be reasonably excited about. So E3 isn't happening this year, you know, the time of year that I like to refer to as Gamers Christmas, but that isn't stopping the major developers from showcasing their games. While there isn't like a convention that's being held by the name of E3, sorry that the motorcycle will go away in a second, we do have some showcases that are coming up. Next Thursday, in less than a week, on June the 9th, we will be having Summer Game Fest, headed by Mr. Jeff Keighley. And then 3 days later, we'll be having the Xbox Bethesda showcase. And then we're expecting Nintendo to do something around that time, but I don't think it's been announced yet. Are those the only two major things that we know of that are going on? I think so.
Yeah, there is other stuff going on, and there's other things coming up. I wouldn't get too hyped about those ones because they're bound to be a lot smaller.
Yeah.
And not as but then again, I don't know. Like this year is the year where people are figuring out the new norm when it comes to game showcases and summer game festivals, stuff like that. So definitely keep your eye open, but the ones to like watch is going to be obviously Summer Games Fest, and then it's going to be Summer Games Fest and Xbox Bethesda.
Yeah. Okay, so we will obviously cover everything that comes out of those showcases. I imagine on Friday we'll record all our reactions to all the games that are announced during Summer Games Fest. And speaking of that, Jeff Keighley was kind enough to let us know a bunch of the developers that are going to be showing up for this. Now, keep in mind, he released the names of the developers that are going to be showing up at Summer Game Fest on Twitter, but just above the list of names, it does say more to be announced. So this isn't a final list, but these are the ones that we know for sure are showing up, and I'll read them in alphabetical order. 2K, Activision, interesting. Activision wasn't Activision banned from the Game Awards last year because of, we don't tolerate sexism and harassment. But anyways, Atlas, you know, the guys who made Persona and Shin Megami Tensei, Bandai Namco, Bloober Team, Silent Hill, Capcom, Coffee Stain, Deep Silver, Devolver Digital, Digital Extremes, Digital Extremes, Dotemu, EA, Epic Games, Focus Entertainment, Frost Giant, Humble Games, Level Infinite, Mediatonic, MiHoYo, Netflix, PlayStation, Raw Fury, Samsung Gaming Hub, Sega, Square Enix, Skybound Games, Steam, Studio MDHR, Tribeca Festival, Warner Brothers, I'm guessing that's Warner Brothers Interactive. I don't know what that word is below it. And of course, Xbox. So obviously, I think, well, let me ask you this side. Over under 60%, do you think that Silent Hill is going to be announced next week and it's going to be a Bloober Team game? Let's start with that.
Maybe.
Over under 60.
I'm trying to get the.
Get the
Yes,
damn
Luna.
cat.
Luna, let's see what you think. Which one you think? Is
Yeah.
it 60?
Yes.
Is it 60?
Cats
She
are
says
lucky.
it's 60.
Okay.
She says it's 60. So, I mean, possibly like cross your fingers. But yeah, maybe we might see that. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, that's the main thing that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I can't, unless there's like a huge surprise that comes out, like maybe Bioshock 4 gets announced by 2K. That would be really cool. Maybe we see something from Fable or Perfect Dark, although I'm not really holding my breath for that. Aside from Silent Hill, the only thing that I'm really looking forward to is going to be at the other showcase, which is Starfield. But yeah, those are the only things that are coming to mind. What about you?
Okay, so with the Fable thing, there's been a lot of Fable news out lately. There's been a lot of things are on fire. Everything is burning. Everything's terrible. Oh my goodness. You're not going to have a fun time playing the next Fable. Oh, they made so many mistakes. Why did they do this? Etc., 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 etc. I've heard that a lot from a lot of people, and there's been a significant number of media people, YouTubers talking about those rumors. Those rumors do not come from reliable sources.
Okay.
Those rumors are coming from a bunch of people who really dislike Microsoft, who really dislike the Fable franchise, and who just want to see Microsoft suffer.
Of course.
What I've heard is that things are going a little bit slower than they would like, but things are fine. That's what I've heard.
Okay.
So I would say, as far as the Fable thing, we might hear something from it. If we hear something from it, it's probably like closer to a release than we were thinking. But I don't think the team that started working on this is a well-polished machine that has been doing games for a very long time, that really wanted to branch out, got the money and the ability and the studio to branch out and do more. And they've been working with the same engine for well over a decade, I think. So are they capable of doing this? I think there's a good chance. Well-polished teams do tend to pull stuff off reasonably well. Now, there's a lot of new hires in that, and we saw what happened with CDPR. I hope that things are fine. But I wouldn't just jump on the bandwagon of believing everybody who's trying to blow up the bad news about Fable, and I wouldn't believe anything until I see it as far as good news either. They say that, oh yeah, things are doing great. It's going to be fine. You're going to love this. Great. I want to see it first. And that's what I think everybody should be saying and reacting to is, yeah, we want to see it first. Because I don't believe anybody now, because it's been so disappointing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to see it first, and I am curious to see what Steam is bringing to this, and I'm definitely curious to see what some of these other companies are bringing to this. MiHoYo is potentially going to be announcing Star Rail. Again,
what's that?
So it's a post. So it's a sci-fi game, basically.
Okay.
And I want to see if they have learned anything from Genshin and Honkai. I want to see if they are willing to stick with their trademark, not trademark, but their the tagline that they created their company with, and that's Otaku Save the World. Save the world by putting in little to no microtransactions and not making them power focused. Do that and I'll believe you. But I don't think we're going to see that. I'm a little curious to see what Netflix is coming out with. And again, it's mostly because I'm curious to see what kind of insanity comes out with. And then the big one that I'm really excited about as far as actual game content. See, all of these that I've just mentioned are mostly I'm very curious as to what they're going to do. I'm not saying I'm excited for a particular title or anything like that. I'm just excited to see what they do, to see how things react and change and morph and move. That's what I'm curious about. That's what I want to see, whether, how that's coming about. But the one company that I'm actually genuinely interested in seeing an actual product, like the actual game that I believe is coming, is Frost Giant. Excuse me. Frost Giant is the first ex-Blizzard dev company. So these are developers who left Blizzard.
Oh
Who
yeah.
said, screw you guys, we're going home, and we're going to make our own studio. These guys collectively came together and made Frost Giant. Frost Giant is announcing its first game coming up. So I'm excited to see the full release on that, see what it's like, see how they're taking things and moving outside of what Blizzard does. Are they bringing bad habits with them, or are they going to go and strike out somewhere new? So, yeah. Just generally, I'm very interested in what's actually like what's going on. Not so much the games. Like, I think, and the reason for that is because I think most of these good titles, like most of the games that everybody's excited for, the vast majority of them are 2023.
Yeah.
A little hard to get excited about that. So I'm not really excited for games. I am excited to see how the culture of gaming is shifting, and I'm really excited to see how that's going to keep moving along. So,
yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing how the developers respond to the last couple of years and how that sort of put a damper on COVID and put a damper on their development. I agree, Cy. And then just one last thing before we conclude. Atlas, I've in the past year, I've gotten into the Persona series. Persona 5, I think, came out 7 years ago. It would be interesting if maybe they finally bring that to PC, because that and Bloodborne are the two games that everybody wants to come to PC. I wouldn't need it because I've already played through it, but I'd be happy for those people who would want to play it on PC. But also, I've been hearing that there are big things coming in regards to the Persona franchise. Maybe Persona 6, but I don't know. It takes forever to make those games, so we'll see. Anyways, guys, that does it for this episode of Maximum News. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week covering all the news that comes out of Summer Game Fest. Until then, I want to thank Saib, as always, for doing the show with me. Saib, do you want to tell people about Triple S League real quick?
Yeah, find us at the Triple S League on YouTube. We've also got this podcast channel that you're listening to, but we've got some excellent discussions about Bethesda in Starfield over on the main channel. Please jump in on those. We really want to gauge what people's interest in this is going to be. I think that Bethesda would be like, this would be their death knell if they released an absolute garbage game. Because at this point, they clearly show that they haven't learned from any of their lessons in the last 3 releases at all, good and bad. I'm hoping that they come out with an amazing game, and that they have good stuff rolling on that. But we want to gauge what your guys' interest in that is too. And so far it's been really good. It's been lots of really good conversations, and I'm slowly going through the comments and responding to as many of them as I can.
Cool. And you guys can just find me on all the relevant forms of social media, just to @Max Derrat. I'll put links to my stuff and the main Triple S League channel in the description box below. Thank you, guys. Until we do this again next week. Oh, it's going to be a good week next week. I want to remind you, as always, and as per usual, stay yellow. And please pray for Silent Hill. Bye-bye.
Bye.